beginner flow that I have created for you all today. I am so happy that you're here and flowing with me. In terms of expectations for this class, this is truly a full body flow. So I'm going to take you through a series of warm-ups, seated on the hands and knees and tabletop, some back bends, a little bit of spinal twisting. We're going to do a sun salutation, and then we're also going to be working towards our peak pose, which is going to be Warrior 3. So I'm very excited to take you through this journey today. You know, designing this class, I really connected with the idea of balance and stability. I was really truly inspired by nature and trees, and just how trees don't have to remind themselves to be stable. They just are. And when you kind of break that down, you can even take it further and say that nature or trees can create balance whenever they need it, and they do. They need it always. So it is something that they just effortlessly create. So that was a lot of the focus for today's flow, was just that idea that when we are out of alignment or out of flow, that we can truly create balance and stability for ourselves whenever we need it. And this flow is a perfect representation of that. In terms of tools you may want to grab, you, if you have them, can grab some yoga blocks to aid in your practice. It's not required, but always welcome. With that being said, let's get started in today's beginner flow. So we're going to start in an easy pose, and I like to start my flows, you know, seated, sit bone on the ground, hands on the knees, seated nice and tall. And if sitting nice and tall is a little bit difficult for you, we can always imagine us bringing that chest a little bit more forward than we normally would, slightly squeezing those shoulder blades together, and you can close the eyes here. So I will invite you here to take a couple of deep grounding breaths as we sit. So we inhale through the nose and then take a big exhale. Good, nice cleansing breaths here. We're going to do 3 more. Nice. And as you breathe, come up with an intention for today's practice. As I did mention, I created this flow with stability and balance in mind, but whatever intention you have for today's practice is going to be the driving force of why you're here. So think of why you showed up to your mat today. It can be to feel good in your physical body. It can be to take some time for yourself, do some good for yourself, or it can just be to simply practice yoga. Whatever the intention, bring it in your head, and I'll invite you to do one more deep cleansing breath. Very good. If the eyes are closed, you can gently open them now, and we will begin. So first pose we're going to do is I'm going to start working from the head down in this series of warm-ups. So we're just going to start super simple, super easy, just some neck rolls. So what I want from you here is to be very gentle. You can feel free to breathe evenly here. You know, you may hear some popping and some cracking. Starting from the left or right is fine. Popping and cracking, also okay, as long as you are not in pain. Your body is just making space, I say, when you hear the popping and cracking. Releasing some tension. So after about 4 of those, you're just going to reverse, go the other way. And I'll invite you to really pay attention to any sensations that come up in the body during these poses. And sensations are not good nor bad, they're just things we notice. So I don't want you to look at them with judgment. I want you to just say, hey, this is how this part of my body is feeling. And maybe send it a little bit more love as you practice. Very good. From here, we're going to take our right hand, we're going to bring it to the left side of the head. We're going to gently bring that right ear down to that shoulder. Left hand is going to walk the fingers out towards the left side. And you're going to breathe here. So big inhale. And maybe as you exhale, you gently try to see if you have a little bit more space to pull it down a little slightly. Again, you don't want to crunch your neck here. We're just stretching. And then breathe 2 more breaths here. Very good. And on the inhale, we're going to release that hand, bring it to the right side, gently bring that neck back into alignment, lock those hands in, and we will switch sides. So left hand to the right side, right hand walks in, out, walks out. And we exhale as we drop that head down to the shoulder. Breathe in here. If your neck can't go super far in these postures, that's okay, by the way. It's not about how deeply we can force our body into poses. It's about feeling the stretch and feeling the connection between mind and body, or breath and body, I should say. So really feeling that stretch here. Just one more breath. Amazing. And then again, releasing on the inhale, bringing that head back to neutral, walking those hands in. We'll do a seated spinal twist. So for the spinal twist, we are going to inhale, bring the hands up overhead, and I imagine bringing energy all the way up from our bodies, holding it here in our hands, and then as we exhale, shooting it down, bringing it down to the earth, down to the legs, left hand, right knee, the right hand comes behind, we look over that right shoulder, seated nice and tall, holding 3 deep breaths. Again, the chest is lifted, we're not crunching at all, shoulders are down, not forced up, we're relaxed here. Very good, and then we're going to inhale, bring up the hands again, bring that energy back, and exhale, switch sides. Looking over that left shoulder this time. Again, seeing if maybe one side feels tighter than the other, not from the lens of judgment, just to notice. 3 more breaths. Amazing. And then inhale, bring it back up. Maybe do a tiny little back bend. Bringing that chest forward, hands together. Big stretch, hold one breath. And exhale. Let it go. Lesson for life and yoga. We're going to flip over and come into tabletop position. So for our tabletop, hands and knees are in alignment. Blocks. So the shoulder is on top of the elbow, is on top of the wrist. Nice flat back as you push from the mat. Hips are over the knees, and the tops of the feet are pressed into the mat. So now that we're here, we are going to come into a cat-cow. So with cat-cow, we are going to drop the belly towards the mat, lift the gaze. Little arch here. Don't want you crunching, just a nice little stretch. Exhale, round, contract as you tuck the pelvis in, nose to chest, pushing away from the mat, really touching those tops of the feet to the mat. And switch. Inhale. Exhale, good. And feel free to add any movements here. So something I like to do quite often is add a little bit of a circle motion as I kind of inhale and exhale. Get a little bit of movement in the hips. Whichever way you're going to do this, you're going to do about 3 more. I don't find in this practice that I let you know how many breaths you're going to take. I let you know how many times we're going to do a pose. And that is because, for me, yoga used to be very daunting. So when it comes to creating balance and stability, something that's really aided me in my mental health journey is knowing what's coming and what I can kind of expect, just to mentally prepare for it. I find it helps not only myself, but my clients at times. So that's why you'll hear me say that. Just to kind of show compassion to that side of our health. Last time, and you may already be done. In fact, I might have snuck one extra in there just from chatting. So back to tabletop, we are going to take a threading of the needle. So right arm is going to inhale as you lift it up towards the sky, gazing at that right hand if you are able. If not, you can just look towards the right side of the room or down. Exhale, threading it under that left hand. Left hand comes towards the top of the mat. Hips are moving, knees are in the same place. We hold here, 3 deep breaths. Very good. You're going to, after that inhale, exhale, bring that left hand back. Push up from the mat. Inhale, lift, left hand, switch sides. Big stretch and exhale, drop that down, right hand up to the top of the mat, holding. Very good. On the next exhale, we slide that hand back, push up from the mat, and we are once again in tabletop. So from here, we're going to go straight into our downward facing dog. So for here, we are going to bring the hands just a little bit more forward than they were prior. We're going to tuck the toes, okay? We're going to lift the hips, pressing away from those hands, looking down towards our toes. We're going to hold here in this downward facing dog. So if you're having trouble with alignment, you're more than welcome to grab a block, or two, I should say. If you're noticing a little bit of stress on the wrists, this is definitely quite helpful. You can also take a variation of bending at the knees here as well. Kind of put a little bit more stress on the legs rather than the arms. You can also stay in tabletop, so whatever works for you. All right, so from here, we are going to paddle out the feet. I'm not sure when you're doing this flow, but I know for me, when I've done my practice for the first time, my legs are always very tight. So we're just going to switch, paddling each heel, lifting, lowering it down, alternating, almost like a cat making biscuits. Very good, amazing. And from here, we will begin. So we are going to begin by taking a nice big inhale, lifting the right leg up. You might know I hit a wall, and that's okay. Up to three-legged dog, trying to keep those hips in alignment with each other. You're going to hold, big breath in, and you're going to exhale, bring it in and step. That hand in between the hands, and that foot in between the hands. And again, if you need, you can always grab the blocks to give you a little bit more height here. I know my husband does this personally. So once we're here, we are in a runner's lunge, beautiful runner's lunge. We are going to keep left hand on the block. Right hand is again going to come up into a twist. If you can, looking up at your right hand. If not, no big deal. You can also, if you'd like, bring this right hand down towards the side or behind the back. The biggest part is this twist here. That's the main focus. 2 more breaths. Very, very good. You're going to lower that hand down on the exhale. We're going to turn the back toes, facing about the corner of the mat, keeping this nice bend in the knee, with the knee over the ankle. Once you're here, you're going to take a big inhale, and exhale, push. Very good, hands come up. We are in Warrior One. So now that we're in this Warrior One, we're gonna hold here about 3 deep breaths. You can use your hands if you want a little bit more energy to imagine you're holding a beach ball. So you're really gripping there, holding here, feeling the power in the legs, bringing it all the way up the body. 1 more big breath. Very good. So for this next portion, you can have blocks if you'd like. If you can reach the ground, awesome. I personally start with my blocks on their tallest setting. So what we're going to do is you're going to turn your back toes. You're going to come into a high lunge, okay? There's a bend in the knee as well. It doesn't need to be straight. I don't want it straight. Nice bend in that back knee, just a slight little bend. You're going to bring the hands down to the block slightly in front of the foot. You're going to engage the core. Balance comes from your core. So remember that anytime you need it. Engage, and when you're ready, push up from the mat, holding the blocks if you need, or holding onto the floor if you can reach, pressing away from it, nice straight back if you can, trying to keep the hips square, holding here 2 deep breaths. If you want to challenge here, you can release your hands from the block, bring them to heart center, Bring them to the hips, bring them behind the back. Whatever you're feeling, 2 more deep breaths. Very good. And from here, you're going to inhale, bring the hands back down to the floor. And if you'd like, you can either bring that leg back down, that left leg, or you can take a standing split. If you want to take a standing split, we're going to inhale, dip the head down, and bring that left leg up as it can. You can use the blocks here, use the floor, whatever works for you. 2 deep breaths. Good. And now everyone can exhale. Bring that left leg down. Meet the other, come into a generous forward fold. So bending the knees here. You can use the blocks even to rest. I know I do sometimes. Maybe shake the head out. Breathe, catch your breath for a moment. Bend into that left leg, give the right leg a break. You can also take a little bit of a twist here with a block or a hand on the floor. Right hand stays, left hand comes up. Again, as you have a bend into that left leg. And exhale, bring it down. Straighten those legs if they were bent. Hands come down to the floor or the blocks. And we're going to go back to downward dog. So we're going to step each foot back into downward facing dog. And then we are going to exhale, bring the knees to the width of the mat. Big toes touch, send the hips back. Hands reach forward, coming to a wild child's pose. Now if this is a little bit too much for you on the hips, that's totally okay. You can bring the knees together, feet together, send the hips back. You can either do shoulders or hands reaching to the top of the mat, or you can bring hands behind, palms facing up, hands framing the feet, and just relax here. And we are going to do 6 deep breaths here. So breathe. Remember your intention that you set for today. Think about how you felt doing the poses on that side. And just again, breathe. As a reminder, you can always take child's pose at any time you need. During this class, during any class. Drink water at any time you need. Just remember to fuel your body with the things that you need. That is a very important part of these classes, especially my classes. You'll see I'm doing it always. But again, a couple more breaths as we think back to that intention. Even if you got your foot maybe a little bit off the ground in those poses, just remind yourself that in those moments you created stability, you created balance. You created that. No one gave it to you. You empowered yourself. You found power within yourself to create balance in a moment. And that is so unbelievably powerful. So take that drive, take that powerful feeling of creation for self, and we're going to bring it into the next side. So let's go back. Coming up from our child's pose, we're going to, if you haven't already, reach the hands up towards the top of the mat. Come up, come into maybe a tabletop if you'd like, with the hands reaching slightly more forward. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, come back to downward facing dog, and we're going to go straight into that second side. So inhale, left leg this time, 3-legged dog. Again, pressing away from the mat, trying to keep those hips square, flexing in that foot. On the next exhale, bring that left foot in between the hands, grab the blocks if you needed, whatever you did on the other side, do on this side. We are in runner's lunge. Holding here. Breathe. Very good. One more. Nice. Right hand stays on the block or mat. Left hand up towards that hand if we are able. Last big breath here. And exhale, bringing it back down. Beautiful. You're going to turn that back right foot facing on the right corner of the mat. left foot is still placed where it is, knee stays over the ankle. Squaring at the hips if you are able to. Once you're ready, engage that core, inhale up. Very good. From here, we are going to hold this beautiful warrior one, 3 deep breaths once more. Breathing here. Nice strong core bend into the leg. You don't have to be super wide. One more breath. Very good. We're going to turn these back toes forward, coming back into that high lunge. A little bend into that knee. And from here, we are in high lunge. So we're going to bring these blocks slightly in front of the foot, if they're not already, if you are utilizing blocks. And we are going to big breath in. Exhale, hands down. Engage that core again. Inhale, lift. Come into that beautiful warrior 3. Trying to keep a nice straight back, nice flat back if possible. You can again use those blocks to push yourself into that straight alignment. If you want to challenge yourself, you can release the hands from the floor and or block. Put them at heart center again, to the hips. 2 more breaths. You are strong and stable here. It is okay to sway, but we're not falling. And if we fall, get back into it. Good. Exhale. Release the leg. Bring it back down to the earth. Amazing. Okay, so from here, we're going to bend into the right knee. Give the right knee a little bit of a break. And we're going to stretch out the left side. So left hand comes up. We're going to come into this forward fold here, holding, the blocks. You can come down to the floor, the knees are slightly bent. It's very passive here. Very, very passive. Just 2 more deep breaths. And then from here, you're just gonna bend to that left leg, give that right knee a nice stretch. Right hand comes up. One more breath here. And exhale, bring it down. And we're gonna go back to our downward facing dog. And then exhale, lower the knees to the floor. Toes touch, knees touch, however you're taking your child's pose today. 6 deep breaths here. Congratulations. You've done the peak of the flow, the hardest part of the flow, and now we get nice, relaxing cool down here. So take 5 deep breaths more. Just breathing into whatever variation of child's pose you like. Three more deep breaths. Very good. On the next inhale, we are going to press the hands and knees, come forward. Welcome back to our tabletop. And we're going to do a very simple pressing back into tabletop, and we're just going to do a couple more leg stretches. Some hip stretches to finish off our practice today before we take a beautiful shavasana. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the hips. So we're just going to sit back down on our sit bone. Starting with the hips, we're going to come into butterfly, seated butterfly. So you're going to bring the soles of the feet together. You can use your hands to bring the balls of the feet as close to the pelvis area as you'd like or are comfortable. Now you can stay here, and I teach a couple of variations for this. So you can hold this posture if this is great for you. If you want a little bit more support under the hips, you can place some blocks under the knees. can also just use your hands to kind of hold them up. If you want to get deeper, you can do one of two things. You can flap. You know, if you want like a more movement-based kind of thing here, if you're feeling like a little stuck, like you need a little bit of movement, you can do a little bit of flapping. If you want a deep stretch, you can grab the toes with the hands and release them, and then you can use the elbows to press on the calves and just press down as you lean in forward down towards the feet. And you don't have to go super far here. You'll find that even a little bit of pressure really gives you a good stretch. So we're going to hold here and do 4 deep breaths. You can also do a variation, a combo, if you will. And if you just want to get a more active stretch throughout the upper body as well, you can even reach hands forward. And that'll also give you a pretty deep stretch in those hips. Nice little stretch in the hip and the shoulders, just a little bit. So whatever way you want to do this, you're more than welcome. You know what your body needs, so don't be afraid to give it to it. Just 2 more breaths here. Very, very good. And then from here, I'm going to turn this way so you can see. We are going to take the right leg, bring that knee up with the hand, and shoot that down towards the bottom of the mat. We're going to square up the hips, keeping the left leg in, so kind of a seated tree pose. Spine is nice and tall, not rounded. We're going to inch up, and we're going to exhale, hinge at the hips, and fold. And you can grab your toes, your ankles, your calf, whatever feels good for you. This is going to be very passive, so if there's a little bit of rounding in the back, that's fine. We want the brunt of the stretch to be in this back body of the leg. So if you feel that, you're doing awesome. And if you're not really feeling that, that's okay. You can also bend into this knee just a little bit, lifting it off the ground, and that will give you a little bit more space to really feel a nice deep stretch here. So holding here, 3 deep breaths. Very good. And on the inhale, you're just going to come up and then bring this knee in, switch sides. So right foot is now above the knee. Left foot is long towards the bottom of the mat. Inhaling and exhale, fold. Folding however you choose. For me, I noticed that this leg is a little bit tighter than the other, so I'm actually going to bend this knee here. It's a little bit harder to get into it. And fold from there because I find that that's serving with this side. Whereas my other side benefited from the deeper stretch. So if that resonates with you, don't be afraid to change up how you do a stretch on each side if needed, just to serve the different sides of the body. 1 more breath. Very good. Inhaling, coming up again, bringing this knee up, sending that leg down towards the bottom of the mat to meet the other leg. And you're going to lay down. We're going to lay down and get into a little bit of a spinal twist. We have 2 more poses here. So for here, we're going to let the left leg stay on the mat. Right knee is going to come into the chest on an exhale. So we're going to hold here for just 2 deep breaths actually. And if you want to enhance the stretch a little bit, maybe bring that head up, just glancing upwards towards the ceiling, rounding a little bit in the upper back. Good, and then inhaling to come down if you'd like. And then taking our left hand, we're going to inhale, exhale. On the next exhale, you're going to bring that knee over to the side, the left side, and the right hand comes out to the right side. Flat. You can leave it flat, or you can take a bend into a 90-degree bend, whatever suits your body. And we're looking over the right shoulder if we are able to. Holding here, 4 deep breaths. Now you don't have to twist too much here. You can always take a little twist, however much you can do, however much you can handle is perfect. Don't force the body again into any postures. 2 more deep breaths, trying to keep both shoulders on the ground. Very good. And then on the next exhale, bring it back into the body. Squeeze that knee in and release. Very good. And then we're going to do the next side. So bringing that knee in. This time using the right hand. So we're going over on the side, left hand out to the side, to the left. Holding here for deep breaths, trying to keep those shoulders on the ground. Very good. And then coming up on the next inhale, exhaling. I'm all over the place today, but we're breathing. Releasing the leg to come back to the body with the inhale. That's correct. Coming into our Shavasana. So you can take Shavasana however you'd like. Some people you will notice come into corpse pose. So corpse pose, palms facing the sky or the ceiling. All muscles of the body relaxed. The spine is relaxed. If you want a little bit more support in that lower spine, what I like to do personally is bring my feet to the width of the mat and let the knees fall into each other. This takes a little bit of stress off that lumbar spine. I find it makes Shavasana comfier for me. You are also more than welcome to take a seated posture at this time if being on your back is a little uncomfortable, or take a pillow and roll over onto the side like this. So once we're here in this Shavasana, I'll ask that we close our eyes, start to relax the face. See if we're clenching the jaw, and if we are, just gently be cognizant release. How are the shoulders? Are they up and squished to the ears? If so, again, release them. No fists in the hands. Again, the back is resting, it's neutral. No tension is being held voluntarily in the body at this current time. And once you're there, I'll invite you to think back on the theme of this class. So thinking back to moments where you felt that you showed up for yourself to create balance and create stability. And in the Shavasana, I'll invite you to reflect on where that can apply in your everyday life. So where can you create balance and stability in your everyday life? What things, what choices can you make to give yourself that gift? You'll breathe here, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm as we reflect on either that or our intention for the class and how we showed up. I will let you know when it's time to go. Gently begin to bring consciousness back to the body. You can wiggle fingers, wiggle toes. Just gently again bringing yourself out of that meditative state. When you feel ready, you can gently open and close the mouth a little bit, play with it. And then from there, flutter the eyes open again very gently. Open your eyes, adjust to the light, and as you are ready, you may roll over onto one side and join me in any seated position that is comfortable. Amazing. So how we will finish today's class is we will inhale, lifting hands all the way up overhead, and in between our hands, imagine grabbing everything that you made for yourself today. The balance, the stability, the power. Hold it all in between your hands as you press palms together. And as you exhale, bring all of that down to your heart center where it never leaves. And then we bow forward. Namaste. Because it's done. We did it. And it's not going anywhere. You did it. Congratulations. You did amazing. And I end every yoga class by saying, we hug ourselves, if you're comfortable, because we love ourselves. So just a little squeeze, a little something. And for me, I don't like hugs, so this is an act of self-love. Just a little. You did good. Release, and I will let you into the rest of your day. Thank you so much for flowing with me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.